Hello and welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and third-person blueprint course. In the last lesson we left ourselves off by slightly optimizing the way this scene looks like, and actually I just noticed this right away that we need to have this window a little bit pulled forwards. So hopefully we have enough space over here for walking, and we gotta go ahead and actually fix this area over here before doing anything else, since all of the area over here is basically floating on its own, so it's not going to look quite as nice. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to grab some of the harbor parts and use them to basically hide that away. I'm going to hold Alt and just simply grab one of the blocks like so, and yeah, I'll just use it to hide away all of the unnecessary parts. So that's going to be this one over here, for example. I'm going to actually make a nice block out of the two of them, and I'm just going to upscale it a little bit like so. Not going to matter too much, it just needs to make it look like it's breaking up the entire surface a little bit. I'm not going to worry about this part over here, since I want to add another building over just to make sure that it doesn't look too square in this section. And we'll need to consider how to get on top of this platform itself. We'll also need to consider the archway as well. But for now though, let's just go ahead and just simply fill in the empty gaps. This empty gap, for example, looks quite a bit interesting with the alleyway. But the main issue that I have over here is the windows. I don't really want to rotate anything in this regard. So what I'll do is I'll probably block this section off as well. But for now, again, I'm just going to make use out of the blocks that I have real quick and just kind of nicely fix up this section just like that. Maybe something like so. Making sure that it's not floating or anything of the sort. And a little bit of an extra like this. All right, I'm quite liking this area over here. This one section is floating around, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this again, copy these blocks, put it off to the ground, just like that. And we got ourselves a nice type of a setup over here as well. All right, so this is looking quite nice. Maybe we can even drag it off to the side a little bit, like so. Something like that. I think that's going to be quite all right. Okay, so there might be a bit of a gap over here, so I'll just pick this up a little bit in regards to that. And I see that there is an issue with this section over here. So I will actually drag this down then, like so. And I might even just drag this house a little bit downwards to kind of avoid that gap over here. There's a gap over here, so let me just go ahead and fix that up as well real quick. So it's mainly just problem solving, making sure that everything connects overall. And then we can consider the extra parts, the smaller detail as well, things like props and whatnot, how to fill in this entire section. So this area is not quite done, as I want to have a nice type of a building in this section. I will actually check the gray box real quick in how this looks. And yeah, we're going to have somewhat of a nicer building over here. What I think I'll do though is I'm going to grab the neutral blocks over here, the ones that were not combined, and I'm going to make use out of them in order to just build it up and delete all the necessary parts, or replace them actually. So that's how I'll probably set this up. But again, for now, let's go ahead and just quickly have a look on how this looks like. So this I'm not too worried about, since it's going to be part of the building. This area will have an entrance exit, not too worried about that. This area, I'm not too sure. We have a small narrow area the player is not able to get through, but it might look like for some that the player should be able to get through. So what I'll do actually, I'll just grab one of the blocks and just kind of completely block it off, just in case though. Mainly to make sure that it doesn't have that openness in this section looking too bad. So I think that's looking quite all right actually. I quite like this setup. Yeah, let's now think about this area over here. We're going to have like a small section walking in here. It's a little bit too open, so we're going to be closing it up. And even actually, if I check the gray box, yeah, it actually does have a building, so we're gonna go ahead and just follow along this type of a setup. The reason being is that otherwise it's just too much of an openness in regards to this area. It would have been just an empty alleyway, maybe some props and whatnot, but there is nothing happening in this section. So even looking from the top, You can see like the slums are kind of clustered, crowded. So even the alleyways that are a bit more open need to be clustered down as well. So I'll probably make use out of this building over here. Just kind of drag it down a little bit like so. And we'll have a nice way of breaking this down. Just like so. Something like that. Will be quite alright. Okay, so we might even, we'll probably add some props over here just to make sure that a person is not able to walk through, and we should add some stairs as well. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. Actually, we should start working with the elevation a little bit and start working with the terrain itself as well. So I'll go ahead and check what kind of stairs we need for this type of height. I'll go ahead with the smallest one, and probably the smallest one is going to be quite alright in regards to the height. Actually, it's perfect for us, so that's really nice. In case it's just slightly outwards, you can probably raise it up a little bit, and you should be able to still run up. Actually, it's going to be much harder for that. So just be careful for like scaling up with the stairs. And this staircase doesn't seem to want to work too well. So what I will do actually is I will try to go ahead and fix it. I will go into the staircase itself, check the collision, and actually show a simple collision like so. And yeah, this type of collision is made purely for just the objects itself. We need to go ahead and fix it. So we're going to make sure we use the convex decomposition. So again, if you're not having this, just make sure you go to collision and use the auto convex collision, and by clicking apply, it should give you a nicer type of a look. Or actually, we need to increase the hull count, hull vertices, and by just increasing both of them, it still makes quite a mess. And I will try to increase the hull count even more just to see, because if there's like extra gaps and whatnot, it's going to be needed, and it doesn't seem to work. So as an alternative, what I will do is I will simply go to search bar, search for complex. There is an option collision complexity. I will just set the collision to use complex collision as simple that is, and it'll basically start using the collision itself. This is quite a simple type of a mesh. It's going to be quite alright if we were to use it. Let's go ahead and test it out now. We're going to hit play, and we're going to see if it works out. Still doesn't seem to want to work out. Maybe the staircase is a little bit too steep. So what I will do as well for this particular case is I will actually go into the blueprint, a third-person blueprint itself maybe, and I'll check how the stepping is for that. So if we were to go to the third person, the blueprint itself, we can check the third person character. This is what's being used basically, and we're going to go ahead and basically check the stepping for that. So if we're to check step, and there you go, max step height. If we were to increase this something to like 80, we should be able to get ourselves a better type of a result. So let's go ahead and test it out now, if that's going to work out. And it seems like it tries to work a little bit better, but it's still not giving us that what we want. So maybe we need to increase it even more, and that's going to be a little bit better. I'm going to increase it to 500 real quick just to see if it actually works. And let's see now if it works or not. So it seems like it works for other objects, but not for this particular staircase. The reason being, maybe it's because it's just not quite there with the mesh collision itself. Let me just go ahead and fix that up real quick. I'll change this back to 50, so it would have a nicer amount. I'm gonna go ahead and close this down and check the staircase collision itself. So I previously said that we're going to set it up with complex collision, but it doesn't seem to want to work. So I'm just going to go ahead and change that back, and probably manually set that up myself. So let me just go ahead and set this back up to project default. Then go to collisions, use auto convex collision. Lower the amount of vertices, we don't need that, but the hull count should be increased. Let's see if this would help us out. And actually, it seems to do most of the work, actually. Let me just go ahead and see if it worked out over here for the staircase. So there we go. We got ourselves a nice staircase, which actually works most of the time. For some reason, it still gets a little bit bumpy in certain areas. And that probably is because We need to increase a little bit with the vertex count, or actually lower the amount of vertices this time. We want to make sure we don't have too many of that. And we should get ourselves a bit of a better result. Let's see if this works now. It might even be a little worse actually, or it might look quite alright. So yeah, I think most of the time it's going to work out, so that's going to be quite alright. There is a bit of a bump over here, but if we reuse the middle, it looks to be quite alright. So I'm not sure what's the bump is with that. So I think it's going to be this section over here. I think it doesn't quite like that. I'm going to increase the amount of vertices just by a little bit. Going to lower the hull count. We just need to make it look simplistic enough. And let's see if this would work out. And we're going to click play. Let's see if this works out. And this doesn't seem to work out. And yeah, we're going to increase the hull count a little bit extra. Like so, we're going to make sure the amount of vertices is set up a little bit extra as well. Click apply. And this looks quite alright actually. Let's go ahead and test it out. And yeah, no, it doesn't seem to want to work, so I'll do it the old-fashioned way. So the way you used to do it before is just simply, first of all, remove all the collision by clicking on this button over here. And then afterwards, you're just going to go ahead and add a box collision, simplified box collision. Going to then go ahead and select the collision itself, make it smaller, quite a bit smaller, just like that. And basically lower this down, like so. And then you're going to be duplicating this until you get the right result. So let's go ahead and hold Alt and duplicate it. Make this quite a bit smaller. Keep in mind that I'm also using all the snapping tools provided. So it's going to make it super nice and simple. And just like that, we're going to go ahead and I'm not going to worry about the other side too much. It's going to focus mainly on the steps themselves. So something like this and something like this. Maybe I'll just lower this down a little bit, like so. Something like this. I'll take down the grid a little bit so it'll be a little bit more nicer setup. Here you go. Again, while holding Alt, I'm just doing it all of this. Make this a little bit smaller, like so. That's quite alright. We don't need to worry about the visuals themselves. We just need to worry about just more or less the overall state of the staircase. The reason being is that the feet themselves actually use the complex mesh and not this type of a mesh. So it's going to be quite alright regardless of if there's a gap or not. So you don't need to worry about too much in regards to that. Let's go ahead and now close this down and now try it out, see if that would work. And there we go. It's going to work quite nicely. I think actually it's bugging out at the very end mainly because of the terrain being inside of it. So let's go ahead and actually take this out and see if it works right now. And yeah, there you go. So that's basically how you'd set up your own collisions in regards to Unreal Engine. And the final thing that I want to say is going to be the feet themselves, because it's using the complex mesh instead, the mesh asset, to determine the position of your feet. You can see that they're going to be placed perfectly on the staircase and they're not going to be like a little bit inwards or outside of it. So you don't need to worry about being super accurate with those collisions either. So yeah, that's going to be it from this lesson. Thank you so much for watching. And now in the next lesson, we're actually going to work on the entrance over here, work on some staircase in the back a little bit as well. All of that good stuff is going to come in the next lesson. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you.